Uchi. Alright, so market dissection for November, week 3. Week 2 was interesting. It was very interesting. I ended up losing my 100k stage 2. I ended up hitting 3 losers. It was a very progressive week, I'll say that much. Very progressive. I learned a lot. I learned I was getting a bit too reckless on the markets, right? A bit too reckless with it. As you can see, number of trades 7, win rate 14%. If we go to trade, you can see we took originally a loss, brought back with 1 win, and then we took 1 loss on Euro GDP. We took 2 losses on GDP USD and 1 loss on GDP AUD. The GDP USD and GDP AUD were both trades this week, and Euro GDP was last week. But we've been, was it 7 trades, and we're still, we're down. If you do the math on it, it's 600. Well, we're down 500, about 500 and something. Let me go back to it. 558. We still have another 9 trades to lose, I think. Something like that, like 6 trades to lose. Anyway, risk management is going well on this, because I'll bring it back. Sometimes you got to have a little pullback before you can have a push to the upside, and it's just learning the lessons from that, in which stop that pullback, build that foundation, continue to push higher. But heading into the markets this week, definitely coming at it from a more patient perspective. That's what I was missing. I was missing the old level of patience that I had and conservative approach, but I was missing the flexibility of the markets, right? And I'm able to see these markets now and be like, okay, this isn't exactly following this strategy, but following market structure and that more conservative strategy route, this makes a lot of sense, right? Before I was just picking any single market that I could make sense of, rather than thinking, does this actually make sense? Is this a clean market? I noticed myself, I was just flicking away pairs a lot more freely this week than I have been. Get some tunes and it's just they slap. So these are not the markets for this week. These are the markets for this week. So starting off with AUD NZD. So when I'm looking at the markets, this black line is previous resistance all the way over here, 2013. This is the last time we were up at these highs, right? We've seen this bearish rejection, which means, again, this is what I've not really been paying too much attention to, but we've pushed up. Now we're at a higher high and we've had a rejection. Now we can actually create that pullback, okay? Because we've had the rejection. We've had the indication that the market on the weekly time frame is at a potential higher high and that buyers are losing strength. Now on the daily, we have this very fucking beautiful push to the upside, higher high, and you can just see, right, it started to slow down a little, doji engulfing, and now this is giving me a counter trend opportunity. Now, is this following the strategy exactly like how I would have traded it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, with my old when I was trading with strict rules and just such a high level of patience and conservatism? No, it's not. But from my experience now that I've had from the past month or so, month and a bit, I'm able to merge both of those experiences to develop myself. Even it's sort of like that patience building was just it's just exactly like this market. The patience building was going up and up and up and up. And then we started to remove the rules a little bit. And then, we started to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And now I can merge both of them together to propel me into a new higher high, to a new level of trading. So, yes, this is a counter trend trade. But if you look on the 4 hour, how we have this beautiful, beautiful shift of structure, we have this resistance and support level built here. Now, if price pulls back to this area, and only if it pulls back to this area, I will then look to sell. Before, I would have just been monitoring and been like, I have to sell, I have to catch this move. Because I think, and I've analyzed it's going down, I have to catch this move. I can't miss it. That was the mindset I was in. So that is this first trade, simple counter trend trade. The next market we're looking at is Euro CAD, right? Euro CAD. Again, I would have looked at this last week, and I probably would have been looking for a sell, right? But looking at it this week, you can clearly see, just look at market structure. Price created a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low. And now what are we seeing? We're starting to see the market push to the upside. Now, when we come on to the daily, what can we see? Super choppy, yes. But left head, right shoulder, rejecting and riding the EMA. We broke underneath, we broke back above. Now, we can either see the rejection off at this level, or I'm anticipating off at this level. It makes the most sense for price to reject this level here, as seeing how the market has created that higher low and the bullish momentum for the weekly is starting to kick in. I'm anticipating to see just a quick retest and then a push to the upside. So I'm not looking really to see price hang about too much. And as you can see, if price pulls back to this level, absolutely splendid. The 4 hour is bullish, it's pulling back. All I'm going to be waiting for is an internal shift of structure from the 1 hour. As you can see, it's absolutely bearish right now. For this to be created, something like that, ideal. But we're looking for buys on EuroCAD. Back up to these highs up here. AUD JPY, just again following market structure and market structure alone. Yes, we're at this sort of resistance. If you look on the weekly, it's sort of that resistance and a little support. But we're also bullish, right? We're bullish. We've just created an engulfing candle. Now, this could be the beginning of a consolidation, right? And it looks clean for this. Higher high, higher low, just broke into a higher high, rejecting. The 4 hour has just created the higher low, created that engulfing candle that I'm waiting to see. It is literally in the process of pulling back after the shift of structure. All I'm waiting for is ideally price to come a little bit lower into here to give me my entry, and then my stop loss just below. Take profit back at the highs. Now, it's not the cleanest trade. I'd much rather take AUD NZD, but you can kind of see how one has AUD weakening, The other has AUD strengthening. When you look at the JPY pairs, it doesn't look too fabulous, to be honest with you. Like, looking at it from this perspective, it's not too fabulous. We need you. It's not fabulous at all. There's a pair gone, right? And you on me. Yeah. Next pair. GDP USD. GDP USD, the motherfucker, right? That I was just so confident on taking. And I still am, right? I still back my analysis. We're under this weekly resistance, okay? Support, resistance, resistance. Multiple times we've seen the weekly stop under this and continue to push to the downside. Now, I do think that this week could be the week that we create that push. I'm going to be 100%. This week might be it. It might not be, but I understood what I needed to wait for last week. I was in that impatient mindset of, I can't miss this trade. I can't miss. I know where the market's going to go. I can't miss. Because USD CAD, the confirmation from USD CAD that I was waiting to see, we finally saw, right? Which is this. We need to see USD CAD come down and build a base. So then we can see the US strengthen, which would then lead to pushing GDP USD down. And that's what held this market back. Not specifically what held it back, but using the correlation between the two of, okay, this trade is still valid. It just, USD hasn't got the strength to push it down. GDP is still fighting. But this is just crisp, right? This is just, it's becoming crisper and crisper because we're building this beautiful foundation of resistance. 1 rejection, 2 rejection building. Left head, right shoulder. Then if we're to see that break underneath, shifting the structure bearish, retest, that is my fucking A plus 50% risk of the account trade setup right there. Stop loss just above there. Take profit down at these lows. That's the trade I'm waiting to see. Same thing. I'm going to go GDP AUD. GDP AUD again. I still like the look off for sells, right? Under this resistance, we created sort of a tiny little pullback and sort of this little lower high. The daily created a push, pulled back. It did technically shift bearish, but the overall structure you can see is lower low, lower high, push, push up. Now the market's created this sort of inner lower high. And if we look on the 4 hour, we can see we've shifted bearish. And it would be ideal if we just create a little push to the upside, saw a further rejection, a shift of structure, a little lower high, sell. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see the market come back and reject under this area, right? I want to see the 4 hour come up again, shift, give me that higher high so it can shift structure. So then we can see that retest underneath this resistance, boom, sell. I need that extra bit of confirmation from this market. USD CHF, again, this is a market that 3-4 months ago I would not have taken. And to be honest with you, even now I'm still hesitant to take it, just simply because of how strong that candle was, you know. But just going off of how many times we've been here, right? How many fucking times have we been here? Rejected, rejected, rejected. Broke underneath, rejected, rejected. Now we're here again and we've had a beautiful doji rejection, right? Absolutely beautiful. And the 4-hour structure is absolutely beautiful. All we're waiting for is a 4-hour higher low to then take that buy position back up to this black line at that 4-hour EMA, because that is where previous resistances, where daily structure is stopped, where we could see this market create impulse, lower high, maybe a wick pullback, push. Is it the most probabilistic trade? No. But is it a trade that makes sense based off of previous market data? Yes. Euro USD, same shit as GDP USD. I'm not a huge. Why the fuck, Siri? Come on.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of this trade specifically. It's just simply because of the weekly and how it looks. You know, yes, we very much could see this bearish engulfing candle next week, right? And that would make sense as a lower high. It would. I would prefer if we'd have had a slower candle, maybe. But I look at it as one bearish candle, two bullish candles, just to come back to this support area. You know, we look left on the weekly. Resistance, support. Resistance, support. It's a valid weekly area of interest. So if the market stopped here, we very much could see the next week push down from here. Now we just need the daily to back that. But when you look at the pullback, right, it's impulse, it's impulse. Yeah, the structure is still bearish, but I don't like it particularly. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't like it whatsoever. Now, the 4-hour shows a different story. This shows a bit more of a slower pull, but when you want to compare GBP USD and Euro USD, GBP USD looks so much cleaner than the Euro. You know, the Euro just seems like it doesn't want to go down ever. But we'll be watching to see if anything happens. Then we have USD CAD, which I'm still bullish on. We've now created that higher low rejection, engulfing, small little candle. Now we're looking for the next candle to ideally be bullish, or another small candle within this bullish candle, and a continuation. And that be on the 4-hour, slow down, breakout, higher low, lower time frame shift of structure, which would be beautiful because the 1 hour is just shifted bearish, lower high, continuation to the downside, right? Boom. If not, continuation again, shift of structure. Give me that 4-hour bullish engulfing. Look on the 1 hour, see that higher low, bullish engulfing, entry right here. Momentum kicks in and we go away. I like USD CAD and I like GDP USD. And then AUD USD. AUD USD we're under this resistance on the weekly, right? I'm paying very much attention to the weekly time frame because if I'm looking to see the weekly turn or the weekly reject and go some way, it most likely either ride the momentum, which we are not in momentum mode right now. So I need to identify weekly areas of interest where the market can stop at and have these rejections. Okay, just like it did here. Pulled back up, had the rejection, right? We weren't riding momentum on this candle. We were understanding the weekly area of interest. So adapting, right? Adapting. And again, on daily, big resistance, sort of a range between these lows here and these highs. We can see lower low, lower high, failed to create a new low. But if we create this lower high and reject again, right, we can then see how the market created push, small shift of structure. Now we're just going to wait. Ideally, I want to see that low high like that. Shift, come back underneath, sell, right? Create that left head, right shoulder, and break and retest under this area of interest on the 4 hour, right? Beautiful support and resistance zone on the 4 hour. Drag it across. This motherfucker's clean. Yeah, support, resistance. So we rejected the daily, I believe. Yeah, we rejected the daily. Now I just want to see the 4 hour. Give me that rejection shift of structure. Good to go. USD CAD, that needs to come to the top. USD CAD can take priority. Euro USD can take the absolute bottom. I'm not even gonna, you know what? Again, that's another market. Another market I am not fussed in. It's not clean enough. See how I'm just eliminating things out even after. USD CHF. I really do like this, right? Because again, I like to incorporate the correlation. And if you can see from the markets I have selected now, there is a correlation. What is that correlation? As I said last week, USD strengthening. As I said like 3 weeks ago, USD strengthening, right? It's just not getting too carried away with it. But if I am correct, right, which the analysis is just across all the pairs indicating that the USD is going to strengthen. So I do believe it's going to strengthen. How much? I don't know. When? I don't know. If it actually does, I don't know. But the probabilities are telling me that USD is going to strengthen. So USD strengthening, USD CAD, that was going to go up. There we go. There's one confluence. GDP USD indicating going down. There's another confluence of another market indicating USD getting stronger. USD CHF at a low. There's another market indicating USD is going to get stronger. AUD USD anticipating a push to the downside. There's another market indicating USD is going to get stronger. AUD, right? GDP AUD, GDP strengthening, AUD weakening, GDP strength weakening, AUD weakening, right? Would indicate that AUD USD, AUD weakening, USD strengthening, right? I was just on GDP. AUD USD, USD strengthening, AUD weakening, right? This one would indicate GDP weakening, but AUD strengthening. Then we have AUD NZD, which would indicate AUD weakening and NZD strengthening, right? So when I look at across those, this market AUD NZD seems a lot cleaner that AUD is going to weaken. So when I come to GDP AUD, I'm not so certain anymore, right? I'm not so certain that AUD is going to push this market down. It seems pretty weak overall when you see AUD look like it's going to push to the downside. AUD look like it's going to lose some strength. GDP AUD, not even that clean to begin with. We could very much see the market come back up from GDP. So it's a market that even right now I'm debating taking off. Even right now I'm debating taking it off. I can see it potentially push to the downside. But if I just zoom out and put it in this perspective, hit this bottom, even go and take it out, motherfucker. Even go and take it out. Again, I'm working on, I'm being more selective. I'm being more selective and being more conservative. I want the best looking markets, the cleanest looking markets that make the most sense. That's what we're doing. That's what we're on right now. So we have USD CAD, AUD NZD, Euro CAD, GDP USD, USD CHF, and AUD USD. And it's 20 to 2. in a bit.